Welcome to part 2. Better late than never, right? Part 1 I posted 5 months ago. So it was summer. Basically, we're in winter now. But I just want to be able to tie this off and say that I have the whole thing kind of documented. I had some audio issues. My microphone was a wireless deal, just a cheap one. Quality wasn't that great, but it had an auto shut off too, so it was shut off for a good chunk of time in this video. So I kind of did some B-roll. If you have questions, I mentioned this again at the end, put them down below. Happy to respond and answer questions. But if you like do-it-yourself content, fixing things, being resourceful with your materials, and being able to just get the most out of anything that you maintain or own, that's what I'm all about. It saves money. I've always done all my own work, my own research, and I've been very fortunate to have a father that taught me how to do a lot of stuff and made me self-sufficient. So if you want to learn how to be self-sufficient, fixing things and building things, and follow along, because we're kind of going to go all over the place. But yeah, be a lot more content to come. So enjoy this one.
We're back. What do we got? We had a cured pad. It's been 4 days, 3 days, plenty. It's not absorbing water anymore, so I'm assuming it's dry. I've been keeping it wet. So we're taking the mini split and then put it on the slab here, and then started to mark out. Where's my reference point is here? I'm kind of silly. I marked the spots where the feet would be. We got a bit on our hammer drill. Got a taped index depth on it for our anchors. So we're going to drill 4 holes. I believe they're 3/8. I want to go all the way through the slab. It's about 4 inches thick, 3.5, 4 inches thick. I want enough thread sticking up, or if I space up my condenser off of the slab, which I'm planning on doing with the rubber foot and some washers, that we have enough thread to lock it down. So let's start drilling. I'm standing on my pad. About that. I'm gonna try and keep it vertical as possible. It's nice and soft. Not too soft. Pretty straight up and down. Should be good. All right. Get our vacuum real quick. Probably don't need that right now. All right, so got our holes drilled. Let's grab our anchors and see what we got. Should pop right in there. We got a nut and a washer on them before we pound them in there. We can put the washer and stuff on there after. Just don't smack them too hard. You round over this end, you won't get a nut and a washer. You won't get a nut on that. So it's important to remember. But these should go. Get a nut on there. It's bottomed out. Perfect. So we're good there. Do this one. This is why you can clean out these holes really well. You want that tolerance of whatever size drill bit it specifies, because if you don't have that and you have dust and stuff in there, it will keep your anchor from going in as easily. The tone changes as soon as you hit the bottom of the hole as well, so that's a concern to you, you'll know. What's that? You should come right off of there. But the heads are tapered on these. They taper the heads on those, so if you were to flare them out, there's still enough material where your thread is proud, and then the nut will go right on there. That's the great engineering design of these anchors. Very forward thinking, I guess. Rubber feet first. I'm going to do the... I think I want to raise this thing up, but this probably won't work. Probably not. We're just going to do rubber feet. I was going to space this thing in the air. I think we're just going to do rubber feet. I think it's probably the best bet. I think we're going to need the big washers. I'll just use the small ones. Look at that. I think enough room. You can remove this grate to get the nut and stuff on there. We're going to have to use a open-ended wrench to get on that. This one here. And then these are relieved so you can slide the unit on, even if the capture nut, even if the nut and washer's on, you can still get the unit on back one. So let's start securing this thing, you know? So we're just gonna send it, and if we need to cut it off, we get the cutoff wheel in here. Here it is. There we go. That's on. I want to put some Loctite on them. Yeah. I'm not going to go any more than that. I might just double nut these. But just to get it finished, we're good. So the installation instructions say a foot from the building. Hard to see, but that's about what we got. This faces outward. Our lines come down. Service loop goes behind. Back up right there. Electrical will swoop down. Go right in here. And then start doing some of that work right now. Maybe hook in electrical last because it's going to be on top of our lines. So we'll start figuring out the line routing. I think I'm going to change this up right here. Got an easy sweep that's dark brown. I want to keep them covered down below the unit. We're going to try and change that out. I'll leave this thing. Ooh, that's hot. It's been in the sun. Very malleable now. Gonna make a relief in this deal so this line can come out. So this is the side where our condensation line pump comes out. So I'm just gonna eyeball, cut a relief for that. A ramp, got like a ramp now. Just push it in. We'll see if it will attach and my line will come out. Just has to continue vertical. We'll see how that looks. I'll let you see what I see. And you tell me. It's just a rough fit though. We lost the integrity of our piece here a little bit where the connection is because we made a relief in it, but our line can continue vertical. We're just going to attach it down to like a pan or like some gravel or something here on the ground outside the building. And then our lines continue. We'll do a splice here for our bend. Do our connections after we figure out what our loop's going to look like down there and do the electrical. So here's where I'm at. It's not perfectly vertical, but I got a screw through the inside of this piece, past my lines and my electrical into this piece, bonding them together. And then we get the other top cap. So we can silicone this thing. This isn't going to come off now because it's screwed in. We can seal it up. We can seal this up. We can put a little silicone in here, whatever we want to do. Gonna be pretty good, I think. I don't cut the heck out of my line here. Like I don't move it around, it'll be fine. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. We have a trim piece I think we can put on the end or just fill it with foam. I think when we're done, we'll just fill it with foam probably. You're not gonna see it. So now the lines will come down maybe we'll paint that brown or the same color as the building to match. And then we'll start moving on to the next step. I didn't pick up my tools and now I'm stepping over my hammer drill. Like incentive to keep your work area clean. Chipping. Gotta be really careful with these lines. Don't want to put a hard kink in them. Then you're screwed. So what's next? The lines, because those are at the bottom and I don't want to be working under the electrical. If that makes sense. So we're gonna have a little bit of difference in line length. We can just separate the insulation here and bend these real carefully. We can always hold something against this and force a smoother bend if we need to. The cap's already come off. I don't want anything to get in there. Any contaminants. I'm not quite ready to hook these up yet. There you go. We'll take these screws and put them in the cap. That doesn't end up disappearing. So these are going to go down to there.
So going through and editing now, I realize that my microphone, it auto powered off. So I'm just trying to align the high and low pressure side. The challenge here is that the copper lines are different lengths, and I think that has to do largely with how I routed the extra length in that coil. So I obviously have the larger line on the outside of the loop, consumes more of the material. So just trying to do my best to get everything lined up and secure the lines. Now there is a special sealant that the manufacturer recommends, and I can put a link to that in the description. It's very sticky, but does a good job. You put them on the threads and on the mating surfaces between the flanged copper and the brass. And you're going to fit your line up. There's plugs in both the lines and on the unit to keep things clean. You want it free of debris, free of, well, eventually when you vacuum out the system, you want it free of oxygen and anything else. So you're going to put the bottom line on. And I actually grabbed a second wrench at this point when I got to getting it tight and realized if I really want to crank this thing down, I'm going to have to grab the fitting itself so don't tweak anything. So we do the top line, take a little extra, tuck it out of the way. You can see I got a loop here. Probably, I think I just ended up wrapping a zip tie or something to secure it or keep it out of the way so it doesn't get snagged or move around too much. Uncapping the other side, thread sealant goes on. No fancy music in this video, just me chatting. I'm pretty chatty. Securing that line on there. All this is foreign to me. I just did a lot of research on YouTube and read the installation documentation probably 3 times. And then got tips from other people that have done their own. So we're going to secure the top line with wrenches and grab the bulkhead coming out of the unit. And then also the line fitting itself. And you got to get these pretty snug. And you don't want to break them off. But do you want to troubleshoot a leak later? I don't. So I'm going to crank them home. So this is all done. Lines are both secured. There's a cover that goes over both of these. Caps go back on. This is our extra material here. And you can see my views flip back and forth because sometimes I'm using the forward-facing camera. Sometimes I'm using the regular rear-facing camera. So that's what it looks like. There's the service loop. We've got a cover that goes on there. Time to work on the electrical. So we got to get this cover off of here. 3 screws. Pretty quick and painless. What's nice is there's a integrated mounting plate for the electrical whip for the 220 power supply and for the control cable for the head unit that goes inside. So I'm kind of looking to see how we're going to route this in. I had an idea to use a particular kind of fitting, and then I realized I had one of these. They're pretty cool. So it's like a compression fitting on one end. It grabs the cable, and the other end is like a has like a screw lock with like an O-ring. So that ended up being the perfect remedy for this scenario. You can see it as it tightens down, it squeezes the rubber gasket around the electrical whip that feeds the head unit, the control unit inside the building. And then it gives us a really great interface to keep things secure. Won't yank out of there. So this is just me kind of like prepping it, routing it in, and figuring out, okay, how am I going to secure this thing? Get the washer on there, get some tools on there, tighten it up. This shouldn't go anywhere. Make sure you tighten it real good. So the wiring's pretty simple. As long as you wire both ends exactly the same. It's like a ground, and it's very self-explanatory. So there's a ground end, and then there's 3, like 1, 2, and 3. And I just had them in a particular order on one end because they're labeled 1, 2, and 3 on the head unit and also on the condenser outside. So we're going to connect those. The other lines are for the power for the 220. Again, this whole time I didn't realize my mic was not working, but sometimes you have that on these big jobs. So I'm measuring how long is the whip going to be for the watertight. Now it doesn't have a metal jacket, but we don't need a metal jacket. It's not going to get stepped on. It just needs to be keeping weather out. I just bought all this stuff at, I think, Home Depot. So cut it to length, or mark where it needs to be cut to length. Started cutting it with a utility knife. I'm like, that's garbage. Got the big old scissors, big old snips. Just hack it off. Lock ring on first, then the fitting. It won't work the other way around. I think we started it. Then for the lockdown process, I think I removed it and then used tools to crank it tight because we don't want it going anywhere. We're just going to end up taking our feed wire and fishing it right through. I think I do that and then I reattach it after. It's easier to run wire through conduit or anything when it's straight. The less bend, the better. The less 90s, the less bends, because there's less friction to push around. So this is our electrical box. You can see we've got 2 hot legs and a ground. Comes directly through the wall from the other side. And this is the watertight. Way overkill for the size wire we're using, but better too big than too small. It's always nice to have capacity. So I just crimped some terminal ends on to our 2 hot legs on our ground. I'm using all the same wire. I'm just using electrical tape to denote which one is the ground. You don't want to get those mixed up. Crimp those all down. We're going to feed them through back to our panel. Don't need to solder them. Just a good crimp will do. So we got these backfed. So you got hot for one, green for the ground, black for the other hot lead. I have a tendency to check things 2, 3, 4 times so I don't have to go back and redo my work again. The next guy I'm working on, it might be you. So this is the electrical terminated. 3 leads, pretty simple. That cover has like a little thin rubber, like a weather seal on it. This is the power end or with the shut off. It's like a little service loop in there, which is nice. Don't know if I'll ever need it, but didn't have a wire stretcher, so good to make it long. It's all secure on both ends. So really wish my microphone had not crapped out on me. So this is the control cable. It's routed up with the refrigerant lines and the condensate line. So what I'm doing is just securing the extra little bit that I got. There's some slack with a couple cable ties. Limit the vibration, and then any rubbing through with a jacket or anything like that. Just extend the life of the thing. Of course, you got to keep it clean. Cut off your loose ends. All right, so cover's going on. We're done with the electrical. I've triple checked it at this point. We know we're good with the control unit on the inside and with our 220 power supply. We got breaker in line, everything we need. So it's all done, cleaned up, looks really nice. Got the cover on the refrigerant lines, although we'll be popping those off when we charge the system. So time to close this sucker up. Whoop. All done out here for now. It's really good to do things to code. You learn so much about what's required to do these jobs the right way. Here's my condensate line, still vertical. It never goes horizontal at any point. It goes straight down to the ground. I end up lopping off like most of this. It just needs to just drain onto the ground. So you're looking at pretty much the finished product, how it's going to look.
So right now I'm going to take my 220 whip,
my 12 gauge 220, and we're going to, I got my panel shut off up from my feed at the house. We're going to feed it through this hole here at the bottom corner, break off our ground, run it up to the ground bar, and then our 2 hot legs up to these 2 positions here, top right 2 positions. This is just a breaker that I have in this opening here. There's nothing hooked up. And this is where our 220 breaker is gonna go for our AC. So it's gonna go like right there. So let me hook this in. We gotta take some of the jack up this MC so we have enough wire length to get up once we do our split to the ground and to the breaker. So we got the MC, the jacket cut back, so we're gonna take and we're gonna make sure that these ends here are not, they're kind of flared out, so there isn't any chance they'll dig into our 2 hot legs or our ground. And then we're gonna put the this slip back on with the teeth and use this to go right into our panel, right at the bottom here, the bottom corner, and that'll pop in there and be pretty permanent till you need to make any changes. The wind whipping through here. Extra plastic right here. Well, she is. Cool. Let's feed it through. There's our ground. This lug is already all the way open. It's great. Everyone knows it's between 4 and 6 agadagas. That's our ground. Verified it's not on the jacket. It's on the copper. It's good. Make sure you get it in between the spades or the flat lugs. There's like reliefs for your wire in there. And make sure you get in there. If you can visually check it, great. If not, you need to make sure you at least check it by putting pressure on it. This is gonna be... There's that. This is in the off position. So hot and hot. Doesn't really matter which goes to where. We're gonna leave some slack in here because we can. Because we can. Why not? We're going to use a hand screwdriver. Good. So here is 12-2 coming in. Here's our ground. I put it at the bottom. 2 hot legs, which are our black and white, up to here, and on either side of our breaker. So it pulls one leg of 110 from here and one leg of 110 from here for 220, and then you ground and you're good. And we're gonna put our panel cover back on, which you've already accommodated for the breaker right there, and we're gonna label it, and then we should be good. So there we go, 20 amp 220 installed, got a labeled AC, and that's it for now, till we get our till we get a vacuum pulled on our system to ensure we don't have any leaks, and then we can charge it and then turn it on and run through the installation guide for all that stuff, and very exciting. So we'll do that real soon. Morning. So I'm about to try to pull a vacuum on my AC system, and I got a quote for $350 to do this. Not even charge the system, just vacuum test it. And I'm like, okay. So I should borrow a gauge set from my friend. It's a Harbor Freight set, like $150 or $100. I borrowed that. You can rent a vacuum pump from the auto parts. I just had to put a deposit on it. I'll get every penny of it back. They didn't even tell me how much it was a day to rent it. You just have to put a deposit on it. But it's $170 to do that. And it's not Harbor Freight. I think it's actually better quality. It sounds like it runs nice and smooth. It's brand new, actually. I had to put the oil in to make sure the level was where it needed to be. So we get a brand new pump. This is a R132 for like vehicles. So you just have to get these off of Amazon. They're the 410 adapters. So we're gonna use these adapters on this setup and hook it up and pull a vacuum. You're supposed to let it run for at least a half an hour. I might let it run for 45 minutes, turn it off, shut the flow off, and then it's supposed to hold a vacuum. I mean, indefinitely, actually. If it leaks over a long period of time, you know there's a very small leak. Let's hope it doesn't leak, because I would like to not troubleshoot that, but it's not a perfect world, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so I messed up initially. I didn't check to make sure that the cap, there's a T-fitting on the vacuum pump, and if you don't have the line you're not using capped, it just draws air right through that T-fitting. So as soon as I tightened it, it's almost at 30. So we're gonna let it go for half an hour, come out, lock this down, turn off the pump, and we'll see how long it holds for. It's been about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna shut this. And then turn that off. And we'll see how long that holds for. So we're gonna be backing these out and releasing the refrigerant into the system. I'm actually not using my mic because I kept leaving it off, which is why there's some B-roll in this video. So I'm a goofball. So we're gonna do this first, the bottom one, low pressure side, I believe. You can hear it. Back it out till it stops. And do the other side. And then quickly, we're gonna back this off. A little bit of refrigerant out, but that's okay. Now we're gonna cap these.
Oh, I heard it. That's a good sign. Check outside.
She's spinning up. Check to see if it's getting cold.
Happy to report that the air coming out of the mini split is getting chilly. That's a good thing. Oh, feels good. Keep an eye on it.
She's going. Condensate line's working. I'm inside there. I'm inside the building, and the cold air, it feels really good. So we got it set to 75. It's about 90 out right now. The building's insulated, the door's insulated, the windows are insulated. I got everything insulated that can be insulated. Can't insulate anymore. So we'll see how long it takes to get down to 75 and what kind of runtime it takes to maintain 75. Maybe it'll be closer to 80, but 80 is better than 100. So I'll take what I can get in Texas climate for under $1,000 invested on a mini split. So
I want to thank you for watching. I can answer questions and stuff in the comments about the process and my learning curve and things that I figured out along the way, but this is months later. So this is February 25, and I've just been so busy. I have lots of content I need to put together and post videos about, but that's part 2 of the AC install video, and hope that you got something out of it. So if you have any questions, put them down below. Subscribe. I'm going to keep posting content. I really enjoy making the content. I feel like I have a lot to share, and I just need to put it out there so that it helps somebody, because a lot of people have posted their own content and helped me. So paid for. Another quick note, the unit has been working perfectly. There's a Wi-Fi module. I can access it from my phone on the app. It works seamless. You can set schedules for it. It's currently like 10 degrees outside, and the heat pump still works. Like, my building was like freezing this morning, or below freezing, and it's like 60 degrees right now. So it works great. Again, it's an 18,000 BTU unit by Cooper and Hunter that I got on Amazon, and I did it myself, and it works great. And the AC is super nice. I can't wait to use it all this summer. Year-round projects. You're just more productive when you're comfortable, when you're set up, when you're organized. That really is how you want to go in to any project that requires focus and all, having everything in hand. So, all right, that's enough from me. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.